Welcome back to the channel, guys, and if you're new, hello, nice to have you here. So today I'm going to go through 9 different psychology jobs you can get without having to do a master's. So as long as you have your psychology undergraduate, you can go for any of these roles, especially if you don't want to do a master's or a PhD or carry on with education, because it can be very, very exhausting. I also have a part 1 to this video, which I will link at the end of this video, which you can watch. I will also put a website which has all of the information which I'm going to share today, and it will be linked in the description box. So the first role is a teaching assistant, and in this case specifically special educational needs teaching assistant. So from what I know, from my experience, this role is always in high demand. There's always vacancies open for this role, simply because there's just so many people that are needed for this, especially in special educational needs school. I did this job in my first year of my master's degree, and yeah, you never run out of jobs. There's always a need for them. This might be helpful, especially if you're looking to go into the teaching route or you want to work with children. You could also take this route to gain more experience that way. So in this role, you're providing support to the main teacher of the classroom. Of course, you'll sometimes help set up resources and organize things and help plan lessons and organize and look after the children, watch over the children, maintain peace in the classroom, especially with special educational needs. A lot of the kids might not be able to sit down, pay attention. They might want to run around a lot, so it's for you to also maintain their safety and help look after them while the teacher is trying to teach. It's very active. You'll be on your feet majority of the time. If not, you have to be highly alert. So in terms of where you'll be working obviously in a special educational needs school, and this can range all the way from nursery level all the way up to college level. The school where I was, they had a nursery and they had it all the way up to 6th form as well. So some will have a wide variety which you can work with. So what qualifications do you need to be able to do this? So as long as you have a psychology degree, you'll be easily able to get this job. A lot of the time, sometimes they'll advertise it as a psychology graduate teaching assistant job, but I'm not going to lie to you, it's nothing to do with psychology really. It's just their way of getting more people to apply for the job, because I even saw a maths graduate one, and it's like you're not going to be doing anything subject specific most of the time. So it helps whatever degree you have is useful, including a psychology degree. So even if you don't have a psychology degree, as long as you've got GCSEs and maybe A-levels, that would be really helpful. But you can also acquire a level 1 award in preparing to work in schools, a level 2 award in support work in schools, or a level 3 award in supporting teaching and learning in schools. So those are the different qualifications that you can acquire if you want to go into this role. But like I said, if you've got a psychology degree, they'll take you on straight away. So in terms of the salary and the pay, it varies, but if you're working with an agency like I did, you'll get paid per week, so it won't be really an annual salary. It'll be as and when you're needed, because most of the time these roles are part-time and as and when you're needed, so you don't usually get an annual salary unless maybe you're working in a certain school permanently. But the annual salary is going to be usually quite low, because whatever the teachers are earning, you're going to be earning less than that, and we know teachers in England don't get paid very well, so yeah, don't expect too much. But if I recall correctly, the range that they pay you a day is about £60 to £100, depending on which agency you're with and where you are, like in London, outside of London. So take all those things into consideration. Next up, we have a chaplain. So a chaplain is someone of faith or philosophical belief who offers spiritual or pastoral care and support to people or secular organizations. So some responsibilities that you'll have if you decide to become a chaplain is to guide people through worship where they normally can't. Maybe they're outside of a church or they can't go to a church. You can support them to worship through that way. You can plan and lead prayer and other faith-related services. You can provide support to friends and families of people who are in hospices, as well as the people who are in hospices themselves, and also in hospitals. You're also expected to work with multi-faith chaplaincies. Of course, you'll have to do a bit of admin, keep records of things, and make sure everything is confidential. Respond to safeguarding issues if they arise, and you have to be quick and prompt with it. And also you have to just maintain your spiritual well-being and your faith, and make sure you're in good standing in your faith and you're staying knowledgeable. So that's just a few things. There's a lot more. Like I said, the website will be linked where you can read more details. So in terms of where you'll be working, chaplains can be found working in a variety of settings. Like I said, hospitals, hospices, secular organizations, prisons, the police service, sports organizations, universities, and even the armed forces. So in terms of the qualifications you'd need to be a chaplain, of course, having a degree is very helpful and it would be great. Also, you need to have some sort of experience leading something within your faith community, having experience in that area, or you can have pastoral or spiritual care experience. For some faiths like Islam, Buddhism, Sikhism, and Judaism, you'll need to gain a certificate that is especially for your faith. However, if you want to work in the armed forces, you're going to need extra experience. So there's all the information you need will be on the website as well. Nowadays, there's also opportunities for non-religious pastoral care. So if you want to do that, you can also do that. There's even a master's that you can take in this as well, but I'm not talking about master's degrees in this video, but you can check that out if you'd like to. So to begin your journey in becoming a chaplain, you have to start off gaining experience as a junior chaplain. So you need to work with people in a counselling capacity or in a pastoral capacity of some sort. So it helps if you have experience in things like counselling, youth work, social care, teaching, care work, or careers advice work. So if you have any experience in things like that, that would be really helpful as well. Now, talking about salary, the starting salary range for this role is as low as 26k, and it can go all the way up to 50k, but it can increase significantly more if you are working in the armed forces. And if you also work in universities, this price range is similar, but in universities you can also reach up to more than 50k depending on your experience. Of course, the more experience you have, the more pay that you can get. The next role is a life coach. You've probably heard of life coaches before and you kind of have a rough idea of what they do. As a life coach, your role would be to help your clients discover their strengths and find their areas of development so that they can improve and work on those areas as well. You might also be expected to lead personal development workshops for groups, and overall your role is just to help people gain clarity and guidance for their future and the present, and just helping them find out what they want to do with their lives and organizing their lives and stuff like that. Now, as a life coach, you have options. You can choose to specialize in different things, so I'm going to put them on the screen, but just to name a few, you can decide to specialize in career coaching, relationships, retirement, personal development, and youth coaching, just to name a few. So as a life coach, where can you expect to work? So normally you're working in an office, but at the moment you can also work remote because obviously COVID happened. So you can work remotely, you can work from home. Sometimes you can work over the phone or virtually, and sometimes you may obviously have to travel to meet your clients in different locations, so that's something to also take into consideration. So in terms of the qualifications that you need, many life coaching organizations are affiliated with the NHS or employee assistance programs. So those companies, they'll employ life coaches from those organizations, and that's the easiest way to get hired. However, you can also be self-employed. So as a life coach, you're apparently expected to have a counselling diploma certificate accredited by the BACP or the UKCP or the EMCC or the International Coach Federation. After you've gotten this qualification, you'll still need an extra 60 to 75 hours of coaching experience to finalize your accreditation, and then you can work and you can start earning some money. So the salary range for life coaches in the UK, you can charge hourly, so the lower rate is £40 to £60 an hour, but the more experience that you gain, or if you work with certain people, you can charge up to £100. And with even more experience, you can charge up to £200 per hour for 90-minute sessions. So yeah, money to be made. The next role that you can take up with your psychology degree is being a mediator. So your role as a mediator is to be a neutral, objective person who can help parties reach an agreement in the middle of a dispute. So some of your responsibilities include setting up the meetings, getting all the parties to agree to meet at a certain place, and also agreeing to the conditions of the meeting and the dispute and how it's going to play out, ensuring that you are keeping records of everything, ensuring that both parties get a chance to speak, and also trying to help them reach an agreement so that they don't have to go to court. So of course you'll have a lot of admin to do as well. So there's a wide range of things that you can expect to deal with. It's not just like one area of disputes. So some examples of the disputes that you might be handling is like neighbour disputes, employment agreements, child custody in the middle of a divorce, landlord or tenant disputes, financial disputes, and personal relationship disputes. So there's so many different kinds of disputes that you can work with, and I think you can also choose which one you want to specialise in as well. So in terms of where you would be working, chances are you'd be working face-to-face most of the time. Of course, sometimes it might have to be online, virtually, video calls or phone calls, or even over email sometimes, but expect that most of it will be face-to-face. So if you are meeting face-to-face, I assume it's going to be an office or a neutral setting of some sort, or somewhere that's agreed by all parties to be appropriate for everybody to reach. So in order to be a mediator, you need to have a relevant degree. It's not specified, but I assume something around social work, maybe psychology or some sort, that would probably come in very handy. So to be able to become a mediator, once you have your degree, you can get training depending on the area of mediation that you want to go into. So you can train at the College of Mediators, which allows you to obviously work with all kinds of mediations, or if you want to specify in family mediation, you can do training through the Family Mediation Council or the Civil Mediation Council. So that allows you to get training to work with other things as well. You can also gain experience through companies like the Citizens Advice or Counselling Services, Law Centres Network, National Association of Child Contact Centres, or Police UK. Now, in terms of the salary, if you have less than 5 years of experience, you can expect that your salary will be somewhere between 17 to 22k, which is not a lot. Yeah, it's very, very low. Very, very stingy. But once you gain more experience, you can expect up to 35k. And depending on what you're doing, of course, you can be self-employed. Some mediators can charge per hour, starting as low as £25 per person per hour. However, if you're a law graduate, you can charge up to £500 per day. But this doesn't mean you just have to be a law graduate. You have to be a law graduate with the accreditation in mediation. So you still need to do the training as a mediator as well in order to be able to make that much money. Next up, we have a play therapist. So play therapists are people who work with children, usually young children and young adults. So they obviously help with whatever issues that children may be going through, but some of this is usually family related, and this can range from bereavement to abuse and neglect, depression and anxiety, divorce and family separations, learning difficulties, psychological problems, traumatic experiences and violence. So it could be so many things, but most of them are usually related to family and relationships in their lives. So in play therapy, you'll be using play, you'll be using tools and things to help children tell their story and to help them navigate and deal with everything that they've been through, especially because sometimes it might be hard for them to find the words to express it. You'll use play as a way of helping them to talk about it and to figure it out and to better understand their situation and help them to get to a place where they can function a lot better mentally and psychologically and emotionally. So this could be a variety of things like sand play, painting, drawing, making sculptures, using toys, using models, dolls. It could be absolutely anything. So it's just a matter of what works best for that child. So in terms of where you can expect a play therapist to work, it's in a variety of places, but play therapy will always be face-to-face. I can't imagine it being online. I think it could work online, but it's probably not as effective as in person because you obviously need all the tools and everything. So I assume it's going to be mostly face-to-face. But you can find play therapists working in places like social services, CAMS, children and family charities, children's centres, fostering and adoption services, the NHS, private residential children's homes, and in education and healthcare. You can also be self-employed, so you'd need to have your own office where you have access to all the tools and resources that you need for play therapy, and you can work anywhere as long as it has all the resources. So in terms of the qualifications you need to be a play therapist, after your degree you'll need to get qualified with the British Association of Play Therapists or Play Therapy UK. So in your training you'll need to acquire at least 50 supervised hours of play therapy in order to become qualified. And of course you need a DBS check once you start working. So how much do play therapists get? The starting salary is 31 to 32k a year. On the higher end it could be up to 45k or slightly higher. Most of the time play therapists will charge per hour, so this could be anywhere between 45 to 90 pounds an hour. Next up we have a social researcher. So the role of a social researcher is to plan, design, conduct, analyze and manage social research projects. So you report findings on your research to be able to inform social policies, or you can be examining the effectiveness of existing policies if they need to be updated, renewed or whatever else it may be, or if you can see that they're not effective, then you now have to find a way to change that so that they can be effective. So in your role you'll be working with a lot of research methods, interviews, questionnaires, surveys and so on and so forth, and you'll be researching everything and anything that impacts society. So this could be housing, employment, finances, education, nutrition, absolutely anything, transport, anything that impacts society is something that you'll be researching. So from all of this you are in a position to be able to inform people who make policies about what to do because of the research you've conducted. So in terms of where you can work as a social researcher, you can work as a freelance social researcher. You can work for a lot of companies, large and small companies look for social researchers to understand their products and the impact of their products and whatever else they're trying to put out into the public. You can also work for research agencies. I think you can expect to work both face-to-face and online depending on what you're doing and maybe what stage of the research you're doing. So some stuff will obviously have to be online, so maybe conducting surveys and questionnaires will probably be all online. Some stuff might have to be face-to-face, especially maybe focus groups or interviews. Of course this can also be done online, but I think you can expect a bit of both. So what qualifications do you need? Of course, you need to have a degree. It's preferred if your degree has a strong analytical or research focus. So some of these degrees include anthropology, psychology, geography, mathematics, politics, statistics, business studies, and economics, and so on and so forth, just to name a few. You can gain your experience at the Market Research Society if you'd like to go into this field. They are very good at offering opportunities to people who are interested in starting in this field. So the starting salary range for this is 20 to 29k. Once you have a bit more senior experience, you can expect the salary to go up to 30 to 50k. It's a very big wide range, but that's the range that you can. I think it depends on the companies that you're working for and the research that you're doing. And then if you're at like a director level, you can expect to earn up to 70k or more. At number 7, we have an advice worker. So an advice worker is somebody who offers free, impartial and confidential advice to people who need it. So you can provide advice on a variety of things, but some of the more common stuff is things like employment, finances, family issues, health, and so on and so forth. You're expected to be organized, you're expected to do admin, you'll be expected to interview people to find out what their problem is and then help them find the resources they need. So maybe that might be liaising with other companies to help them. You might be doing more research and investigation to find out what benefits they're due and also helping them to apply for certain things, maybe jobs or applying for certain benefits. That will be your role. You might need to write letters and emails to advocate for them in certain situations. You might need an interpreter, so it's also up to you to find an interpreter if it's needed. So you also might need to refer your clients to certain places where they can get the help they need, and it's also your job to compile statistics on the cases that you've done, and that's just to name a few of the things that you'll be doing as an advice worker. So in terms of where you can expect to work, it seems a lot of it will probably be face-to-face, but you'll be working within the community. So you can work also in doctors' offices, prisons and courts, as well as dedicated advice or call centres. So in terms of the qualifications to be an advice worker, a degree is absolutely not necessary. However, it does help. Maybe you have a degree in law, psychology, that will be perfect. And if you want to start out in this field, you can gain your work experience at Citizens Advice to begin with. The starting salary is as low as 19 to 26k. Yeah, very, very minimum. But if you're in management, this can go up from 28k to 31k. And if you're a really senior level, then you can go from 35 to 45k per year. Next up at number 8, we have the policy officer. Yes, not police officer, policy officer. And I think the clue's in the name. Your role as a policy officer would be to gather evidence to support policy making or to influence policy decisions. You also have to assess the level of impact on the policies that have been made, evaluate them, and also evaluate policy proposals to see if they'd be even worth putting into place, or if they just need to be tweaked in order to become a bit more appropriate for whatever they're going to be applied to. And also advising decision makers, the people who make the decisions about what policies go ahead and which ones don't. You'll be giving advice to them as well. So in terms of where you can work as a policy officer, you can work in the private, public or charity sector. So there's a lot of options for you. It seems a lot of it can be online. Some of it can be face-to-face. It just depends. You definitely have a lot of flexibility to work in person or remotely or hybrid. So in terms of qualifications, it helps if you have a degree in certain things like law, psychology, sociology, public administration, economics, anthropology, social policy, philosophy, or politics and international relations. So if you want to start in this area, you can gain experience by working for a charity, a political party, or an MP. The starting salary is 23 to 30k, and if you're a senior level, it can increase slightly to 32 to 40k per year. And if you're a policy manager, you can earn up to as much as 40 to 50k per year. And if you're working as a head of policy, you can earn up to 60k or more. Now at number 9, we have a psychological wellbeing practitioner, or PWP for short, because it is a mouthful. So your role as a PWP would be to assess and to support adults who are experiencing mental health issues like depression, anxiety, and helping them to find a solution and coping mechanisms for this. The people that are brought to you will be experiencing mental health issues at mild to moderate level. High risk people will probably be sent elsewhere. Because your role is to provide low intensity CBT, you can't work with somebody who's high risk while you're providing low intensity CBT. So you'll be doing this 20 to 30 minutes per client depending on their issue, and you might also need to refer clients sometimes. So you'll do assessment, like I've said. You'll also be liaising with other healthcare professionals. You'll be conducting patient interviews. You might also educate and involve the family if it's necessary. You'll also need to have supervision and keep an accurate record of your work with your clients. So this job is going to be most likely very face-to-face. You'll be working in hospitals, local GPs, and psychological treatment centres. So in order to do this, you do need to have a degree, and once you have your degree, then you can do an extra bit of training. You'll need to do a postgraduate diploma, or you can train with the NHS. The NHS provides a course which is 1 year, and you'll be in class 1 day a week, and then 4 times a week you'll be working. So the PWP course that you need to do has to be accredited by the BPS. Even if you don't have a degree, you can still do this. You just have to do another qualification which is equivalent to a degree. So the salary rate for trainees starting at band 4 is 23k. But once you're qualified and you move to band 5, your salary can increase to 27 to 32k per year. And at band 6, once you progress a bit more, you can earn up to 33k per year. And all the way up at band 8A, you can earn up to 54k per year. So I hope that helps. And like I said earlier, if these options don't work for you, I have another video which you can watch, and that can show you more options of what you can do with your psychology degree without having to do a master's or a PhD. So I'll see you in that video. Don't forget to like and to subscribe, and I'll see you. Have a lovely day. Bye.